right, here we are, live on the Stoned Roadie Show on assignment. And Craig sent me out here today to hang out with Gene Odom, because Gene Odom's always a great guy to have on the podcast. And so I'm gonna turn the camera around here and we'll flip it around here and try to get both me and Gene in here. There I am. There's Gene right there. Say hi, Gene.
Hey, how y'all doing?
But we don't want Gene to look too much over here, because he got to keep his eye
on the road.
His eye on the road.
But you got to watch these damn Yankees down there.
Yeah, because we just came from Yankee Land, Inverness,
yeah,
over there,
Citrus County.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm on assignment over here, and I'm gonna flip this back around and show you. We're on our way to over to Jacksonville to visit Jimmy Withers, because Gene has to get a laptop from Jimmy and get back on Facebook so he can say hi, oh Silver, I'm going to bed, no story tonight, gonna watch Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke.
But I thought this was a good time, and I'm gonna go ahead and put Gene on camera right here, like I did back when we did the West Side tour. And this is the same camera that I had then. It's a good little high definition camera. And when we did the West Side tour, and I want Gene to tell the story about Ronnie VanZant. We were talking about it earlier, about Ronnie VanZant catching that bass, because we were talking about bass fishing, and a lot of people don't even know where that lake was. Gene, I thought it was in Jacksonville, but it wasn't in Jacksonville, was it?
Ocala National Forest, south of Palatka.
And what was the name of the lake?
Delancey.
Lake Delancey?
Yep.
And how did you guys find that lake, Gene?
We fished down that lake for years and years. We used to hunt rabbits and squirrels down there in that area. And gosh, how we found it? It's not too far from Robert Reservoir, and we was just hunting down there sometime, hunting a place to fish, and we found Lake Delancey. There was a little bitty fish camp on that lake, the only fish camp around. I can't remember the old guy's name that ran it, but we found it, and there was some big old bass in there.
Right, how old were you when you guys found that lake?
Gosh, man, probably. I got to 67, 68. We were teenagers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How far was that, do you think, from Jacksonville and the West Side where you guys lived? Good 2.5, 3 hours, huh?
Well, let's see. It's if you left Jacksonville to go to Palatka, 45, 50 miles, 50. It was probably 75 miles down there, and also it was about 75 miles from Jacksonville onto Orange Lake, where we did a lot of fishing in Orange Lake, Loch Luso. I go by that. We just came by there a few minutes ago, coming this way. Teenagers, we just got driver's license, had no pickup trucks and no little John boat. But we were, gosh, I'd say 16, 17 years old. I got married when I was 18. 17 maybe.
So you guys used to go fishing in that lake, and you realized there was some pretty good sized bass in there, huh?
Yeah. There wasn't, back then you didn't have all this bass tournaments, all these bass fishermen. There wasn't that many people that fished for bass, black bass, back then. And now there's millions and millions of them. It's a big business now, but we used to bass fish before it ever became a fad. And in Orange Lake, I was called the bass man because I'd go down there, I'd iron work and throw that John boat in the back of the truck and run down to Orange Lake and jigger fish at nighttime and fish on the weekends, and did lots of jigger fishing. And I was called the bass man.
That jigger fishing, a lot of people, they don't really know what that is, but even Craig, he did some of that. Ronnie showed Craig how to jigger fish. That's when you have like a cane pole, right?
Yeah.
And you go up into the lilies, and you like drop you a worm down right in those little holes.
You only fish with an 18-inch line, about 18 inches. That's all the line you got on the end of your cane pole, and you get up in the lily pads or on the grass beds, and you at nighttime, and you take the end of the pole, and you're drifting, or somebody's paddling you, or if you're lucky enough back then to have a trolling motor, and you just go along the grass bed, and that's how you catch big bass. And it'll scare you to death when a bass hits that plug in the middle of the night and makes that big splashing noise. Normally it'll scare you every time it happens because you're not expecting it. You're looking for it, but you're not expecting it. Big old bass hits it, scares the piss.
Is that mostly when you did it in the nighttime?
That's how you do jigger fish at nighttime.
Oh, only in the nighttime.
Yeah, only at nighttime, yeah.
And so, how long was your cane pole usually when you did that?
Well, you had to get for that kind of fish, you had to have a real stout cane pole. You get the longest one you could get, and you would cut 2 or 3 feet off of it so you took the
nimble end off, yeah.
You took the nimble end off of it and make it a good stout, because when you hook that bass, you got to drag that pole back and drag him out of the weeds, or if you have 2 people in the boat, you fight him up to the person in the back or the front, and they'll throw the bass in the boat, and just scare the piss out of you when they hit it.
So Ronnie had it in his mind that he wanted to get him a trophy bass, and of course he wanted to have a trophy bass in an old truck was a couple of the things that he wanted, right?
Yeah, before he died, he always wanted an old truck, and he wanted a trophy bass.
And so he was going to get him a trophy bass, and did he want to just go like early in the morning to that lake and then like do some worm fishing?
Yeah, right at that time he was real busy, and they were working on the album, rehearsing, and they rehearsed 7 days a week. And at that time, he just wanted to go fishing. And he says, man, let's go to Lake Delancey. And I said, all right, let's go. And I had my old 69 Chevrolet pickup truck and a little 12-foot John boat. And we got out there.
Was it on a trailer, or that you put it in the back of the truck?
Back of that pickup truck. And it was.
But I think you told me that you'd planned on going, and then the next morning when you got up, it was raining like hell or something.
No, we got down there and driving, pulling up, getting down in the woods. We're just back in the woods where we dropped the boat in. So most of the time we didn't have no outboard motor, and we'd get close to where we fished at, so we had to row or paddle or whatever. And as soon as we started pulling up to the area where we were going to put the boat in, it started raining. And I backed on up and got close to the lake where we normally would stop at. And it was raining, and he said, we waited a few minutes. He said, let's go home, man. He said, I got stuff I can do. Let's just try and go home. I said, no, man. I said, let's stop here shortly. And we used a second. He said, no, come on, man. He said, let's go. He said, I got stuff I can do. I need to get done. Come on, let's go. I said, man, let's wait a little while, see if it stops. He said, man, let's just go ahead and go. And then about that time, it stopped. Started stopping. And I said, look, man, look on the hood of the truck. I said, it's stopping right now, slacking up. You know, in just a second, it had quit raining. One of the old Florida thunderstorms it had. And we threw that boat in the water.
What time of the morning was it then? Was it just crack of dawn, maybe?
Yeah, it was just sun up. You know, and we put the boat in, and we went to the left where we'd always start fishing at. And I let him in the front of the boat, and I was in the back of the boat, and I would be rowing or paddling. You know, I don't think we had a motor at that time or that day, whatever. And we just started. He used an old purple Jim Bagley's worm, and I used a black. He threw that worm and hit my eelgrass, and that worm tangled him, and that worm hit the water. As soon as that worm hit the water, that big old bass swirled and hit that worm. I said, man, there's your trophy bass right there. Set the hook. And he set the hook on that big old bass. And that morning when we were leaving, when I grabbed the dip net, put the dip net in the back of the boat, it ripped. The netting ripped, was rotted. And I just threw it to the side, so we didn't take no dip net. We didn't have no dip net. So when he hung the bass and was fighting over the bass, he said, "Man, we ain't got no dip net. You ain't got dip net." I said, "Just fight him. Just keep your tension on the line. Keep him out of the grass. Get him over by the boat. We ain't got no dip net, man." Well, he was freaking out. And I said, "Just get him over here by the boat. Get in." So he finally got the bass over by the boat. He put up a big fight, and I grabbed that big old bass by the mouth and flopped him in the boat. Man, and Ronnie was just jumping around, screaming, hollering, "Man, there's my bass, there's my trophy bass." You know, he was really, 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 really happy, freaking out. And I told him, "You better stop this, you're going to turn the boat over." You know, and he grabbed me, hugged me. "Come on, man, this is as cool as hell. Let's go weigh it." You know, I said, "We just started fishing."
He wanted to leave, huh?
"Let's go weigh it, man, let's go weigh it." So the guy had a basket in the water, a cage, and you could put your fish in that cage and pick them, come back later, or when you got through fishing, and pick your fish up.
It's like a live well, you mean?
Yeah, a live well there. We put the bass in there, weighed it 11. It was either 11 pound 8 ounces or 12 pound. I can't remember. I think it was 11 pound 8 ounces. 12 pound, right around 12 pounds.
Were you guys like, after you had in the boat, I imagine, just like anybody else, you were trying to guess how much that damn bass weighed, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he knew that was the biggest bass he'd ever seen, plus the biggest bass he'd ever caught.
What kind of gear was he using?
He was using I believe he had just got his gold ambassador bait casting reel.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
We both used that. He just got a gold one, and I had I think it was a 5,000 or something bait casting reel. And he had a Fenwick lunker stick. We both had Fenwick lunker sticks, and so we got back in the boat, and we went back down and started fishing right past where he caught that bass. And I don't remember, I think I caught one or two or smaller ones. And around the lake, man, I hooked one. I'm telling you what, I don't know how big he was, but me fighting him in that drag, I'm fighting this bass, and that Fenwick lunker stick breaks, snaps that lunker stick off, and my first thought was, he's gone. And I was holding on to my reel and my handle, and I went, "God," and Ronnie was going, "My God, that was a big bass, man." Man, and then so the bass started jerking. And I grabbed a hold of the thing, and he was taking line on the drag. I went, "My God, man." And then he pulled off. It tore off, and I went, "Man." Didn't break the line. I guess he just pulled out. So I never knew how big it was or what it was, but it was that black worm I'm using. That 99.9 points chance it was a bass, you know. And so he got off, and Ronnie went, man, I love him. My lunker stick was broke, so let's go. We're ready to go anyway. Ronnie wanted to get that bass home so he could get it to the taxidermy. He was ready to go. Because he didn't want me to catch a bigger bass than he had that day. But I tell you what, it was one of the finest days of my life, and it was the very best day of his life. I don't give a damn what anybody else says, Judy or anybody else says. That was Ronnie VanZant's finest day, catching that 12-pound, I think it was 12-pound 8-ounce bass, at his trophy bass. And he got it back. He always wanted an old truck and a trophy bass before he died. He got the old truck, 55 Chevy, and he got that trophy bass, and that was in May, June, July, August, September, October. 5 months later, he's dead.
Oh, so it was just 5 months later. So that was right when he had done the last album.
Yeah,
and he was at the top of his height in his music.
He had just gotten the bass back from the taxidermy when he died. So
were you with him when he picked it up, or did you just?
No, I don't think I was.
Did you? No. You got to see it?
Called me. Oh yeah, he called me out there. Come out, look at this bad man. Yeah, and he was happy. He was happy. He loved that bass, and that old truck. So he really got what he wanted, before he died. His old truck and his bass.
Did he have it on his wall already?
Oh yeah. There's a picture of him standing there watching. What she's watching is a Betamax.
It was like a boxing match, wasn't it, or something?
Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
And you can see that bass on top of him, on top of the on the wall above that.
Did you ever go back to that lake fishing again?
Yeah, several times. And then, like I told you, it dried up. I got a sinkhole or something dried up, and then when it came back, it split. There's a berm that was across. I saw pictures of it, satellite pictures, and I don't know if the lake ever came back to full size it was before. But Mother Nature has her way of doing things.
So what do you think it looks like around there now? Is it like housing developments, or is this the same?
I don't think so. Out there, no? I had an iron worker buddy of mine that had a lot on that property, and he told me, he said he bought it in 1960 something, never went back down there to it. And I said, man, you should check that out. There might be a mobile home on your property. It better not be. I ain't been down there in years and years and years and years. I said, I tell you what, man, if your lot is what you say, well, your lot is where you say it is, I think there's somebody that might have sold your lot and have a house on it, a mobile home. And then it wasn't long after that he got killed in a car wreck. So I don't know if he ever checked it out. Maybe his kids did. They might have found out that he had a lot down there. They had a lot, or somebody had.
So that was Lake Delancey?
Lake Delancey.
In Ocala National Forest?
Yep, on Highway 19. You go down Highway 19 and go down through there, going through it's right before you get to Salt Springs.
What other kind of fishing did you guys do? Did Ronnie ever do, like, I've seen pictures of him, like I think down in the Keys where he'd caught a barracuda.
Yeah, he went several times away from home fishing, and when he went out on the road, whatever. At home, he liked to go brim fishing. There's pictures of him with a string of brim. I don't know if it was Bill Ferris that was with him, or right next to his house where he lived at there. He fished right there on this dock.
Was that on Doctor's Lake?
What he called those brim, that stringer, that's a picture of him on there. I don't know if it was there or somewhere else that he went with somebody, whatever.
So you guys, ever since you were little kids, you went fishing, like probably in a lot of the lakes over there near where you live, catching brim and stuff like that.
Cedar Creek, yeah, man. Catch mullet. Mullet season come through there. We used to go down there, American Legion. Right on Cedar Creek, there's San Juan.
So that song where Ronnie talks about, you don't want to, ask me about my business. I won't ask you about yours. And he said, you want to talk about fishing, that'll be okay?
Yeah.
That's a pretty accurate description of Ronnie right there. He enjoyed going fishing. That was one of the things that he really liked to do. And Gene still likes to do that because there's always I don't see one now, but usually there's a fishing pole. And is there one back there?
There's one back there behind the seat.
There's always a fishing pole in Gene's car. Every time I've ever gone somewhere with Gene or met him somewhere.
I guarantee you there's one right there.
Yeah, he keeps a fishing pole in his car. And so that's something Ronnie liked to do. And that's gonna clear up any misconceptions about where the bass was caught and how it was caught. And I don't know, what do you think happened to that wall mount?
The last I heard, I think Melody has it.
Yeah?
Judy let Melody have it.
That'd be...
I saw a picture one time. I think they changed the nameplate on it. It may have been lost or whatever. And it caught my eye because of the date that they put on it. I don't think the date that they got on it is right. The date that they have on it may be right when he got it back from the taxidermy, but it wasn't the day he caught it. But it's his bass. He caught it. His family members got it, so everything's going up and up.
Yeah.
I just can't remember if it was 11 pound, 8 ounces, or 12 pound.
What about? How about you? Did you end up getting you a nice wall mount after that, Jeans, from somewhere?
Yeah, I have I had 3 of them. You don't do that nowadays. You don't mount big old bass because you turn it loose. Back then you did, I had a 12 pound something. I had an 11 pounder and a 10 pounder. And one reason I mounted the 10 pounder is because that fish put up such a fight. He fought and fought and fought and fought. And when I had him mounted, I named him Ali the Bass because he put up such a fight. I wish I hadn't done it because he was just 10 pounds. But back then it was okay to do it. Nowadays I would never mount nothing.
Where did you catch those at? Was it?
Lake Delancey.
So you went back to Delancey?
I went back there many times. Orange Lake, I caught the other 2 in Orange Lake. I caught 2 of my big ones there. Lost a bunch of big ones there.
Were most of them?
Fishing.
Oh, jigger fishing?
Especially jigger fishing, yeah. You lose really big. You catch them, but when you jigger fish, you have to use anywhere from 4 to 6 treble hooks because when you that pole and that short line, when that big old bass hits that plug, boom, you don't have any like with the drag. You got to fight him with the pole, with that fishing pole. When he hits it, boom! You got such a tight line, and he'll just rip the hook out, rip the hooks out of his mouth. Or if you have to have enough hooks that he can't rip them out because of the force. I was there fishing Orange Lake one night. I had just caught a 7 pounder and I had him in the boat. And the next strike, man, that was a big bass, and I lost him, pitch black. And so I kept fishing, kept jigger fishing, and had a strike, missed him. Missed him. I had 5 strikes in a row that I missed. That's it. I'm going home. I threw the John boat in the back of the truck, and I always put my jigger pole in the back and let it hang out by the bow of the boat. I put the jigger pole in there, had a spinner bait on it, and as I looked at it, I went, "What the hell?" I grabbed it. Oh God! That big old bass had took every one of them treble hooks and ripped them out of it. It opened up the. And they were through the hole of the spinner bait. They had ripped and opened up the eye and took the hooks. So that's what you got to do. Every time when you're jigger fishing, and you catch it, you hunt one. If he gets off and you lose him, get a flashlight and you check and see if he takes your hooks.
Yeah, because then
I didn't check, and that next 5 strikes would have been 5 big old bass.
Oh, you were fishing on credit.
Man, I was so mad, but I learned my lesson. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you.
And I know the one weighs 7 pounds because when I got to this closest store that we always stopped at, I weighed the bass, and that bass weighed 7 pounds.
How about like when you guys would go fishing and I mean, Ronnie did a lot of brim fishing too, right?
Ronnie fished. Oh, his daddy, Bill Ferris, you know, he'd go fishing with a couple of people, you know, but we want to go bass fishing, and they didn't want somebody that would be talking no shit, no, aggravating him. Me and him would go fishing, you know, because he knew we was going bass fishing, and he wouldn't be no bullshit, you know.
So you guys, like, when you were brim fishing, that's probably more of a relaxing thing, and you just sit there and you got your bait in the water and you're just bullshitting.
But with Gene Odom, you got no cooler full of beer, no whiskey, and no cooler.
Right.
It was fishing. And if he wanted, some of them other guys that wanted to go with fishing, whatever, wanted to have a beer, they could take a 6-pack, but the fella, no, Gene Odom was fishing, but hanging out. And Bill Ferris, which is his other really, really, really good friend, Bill would indulge, let's say Bill would indulge. And so, you know, Bill and Ronnie were real close, especially when...
Is he still around?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Bill Ferris, he's a good guy.
I think I met him out at the Hill House property. He came out there.
Yeah, he's cool as hell. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Kind of a quiet guy. He don't talk.
Smart, educated, a real good guy.
Yeah.
He would indulge and drink a little bit, and smoke a little bit of dope and whatever. But, you know, if you wanted to go out and drink or want to do some drugs, you wouldn't want Gene Odom hanging around, you know, because I just don't want a part of that. I'm just telling me to leave if you start whip out the drugs and start drinking too much.
And that's why he made you security of the band, because he knew that, you know, that you were going to try to help eliminate a lot of that stuff.
I don't mind somebody doing what they like to do or what they want to do. If they want to drink a little bit, but you're going to get drunk and loud and whatever and make a ass of yourself.
I remember.
I don't need no part of it.
Yeah, here's Gene passing now. We're going to watch Gene.
Passing a Tesla.
He's passing a Tesla. Well, so Craig one time told me, he said, Gene Odom said he never got high or drank or anything. He said, that's a lie. Gene Odom got high because at one time he was on the plane and there's so much pot smoke blowing around in there. He said Gene started kind of babbling a little bit, so we knew he was high.
That's possible because they smoked some pot on that plane. I know that. That's why there wasn't no drugs found when the plane crashed, because you know, drugs don't hang around drug addicts very long. Drugs will be gone. Alcohol and drugs.
Well, you know, you might have been high, you just don't remember.
I just don't know it.
But I know for a fact, because I've never seen Gene take even a drink of or a sip of beer.
Never, nothing.
So, yeah, Gene was probably a great influence for Ronnie to try to help clean things up in the band. But where are we now, Gene? Are we we're heading through we already went through Keystone Heights, right?
Yeah, we just got through Keystone. This is Camp Landing. This is the old Army base. Now it's they do a lot of training. Foreign soldiers train out there. A lot of National Guard, a lot of Army, lots of National Guard train out there.
Do they have an airstrip there too? Yeah, I believe that's where Joe Crimp said his dad he flew those planes. Whenever Joe was a kid.
This is a big base. This base is probably 15 miles long, deep, and it goes that way for miles. This is a huge. So I know there's major airfields out there.
Yeah.
Years ago, the Navy, they probably still do it. There's a bombing range out there. There used to be signs up here that says, "Beware of the noise. Freedom don't come cheap," or something like that. There used to be signs on the side because the Navy has bombing ranges out there.
How far away are we from the west side?
About 20 miles.
20 miles?